Phil Collins wasn't original.
I didn't realize there were 5 of them. I thought it was 4 of them.
You are opening a Pandora's box, my dear, if you ask me about Genesis. I think that people are so cynical that they see the Superman message or the symbol of it and it's like, oh, how quaint. No, we desperately need to recapture whatever that is that Superman represents.
My platform is Peaceful Praise. Anything I do through that platform is about peace, love. It's about the things that we consider to be positive vibrations and higher vibrations. I've also come to believe that it's all true. Anything and everything is possible.
We gotta stop thinking of ourselves as separate beings. I mean, we are a unified consciousness. You know, that's, I think, what we're growing into. We're gonna be a unified mind, a global awareness.
God, universe, the indescribable, infinite source. I mean, all those work for me. But I believe God dreams a bigger dream.
We must have a high tolerance for chaos, learn to embrace the flow.
Forgive all that we can't forget. Regret nothing we can't let go. For despite what we have learned, infinitely more we do not know.
So let us tune our frequencies
Until new vibrations grow. Let's pretend that it never ends.
And now, it's time to start the show.
Okay. What was the question?
So we're recording now?
Yeah,
Everything.
we're recording.
That's cool.
I usually like to just start and then just start talking. It's usually less pressure on people, but when I heard
love
your
that.
question, I was like, oh, I gotta press record for this.
Okay. So I love the autograph picture you have of Genesis. They're so young, though, I can't tell who's who.
That's right, yeah.
So is that Phil Collins on the bottom right?
No, close. He's the bottom left.
Get out.
Yeah, he's the bottom left. The bottom right is Mike Rutherford. He was the bassist. One of the original members. Phil Collins wasn't original.
You know what? Now that you say that, I could see.
You could see it, right?
But now, I didn't realize there were 5 of them. I thought it was 4 of them.
You are opening a Pandora's box, my dear, if you ask me about Genesis.
I know you. You are the Genesis of Genesis?
Yeah, I'm a die-hard obsessive freak, like Nikki's sick of hearing about them. But the quick answer is they were 2 bands at this charter house boarding school for boys. And the 2 bands sort of came together, and they were a 5-piece. 2, 3, yes. And then they lost a couple drummers, and then they lost their guitarist. So they were down to 3. They brought in Phil Collins as the drummer, and they brought in Steve Hackett as the guitarist.
Okay.
And that was in like late 70s, 71-ish. So then they were a 5-piece until 75.
Okay.
When Peter Gabriel, the lead singer, left the band, and then he went on to do his solo career.
Yeah.
So now they're down to a 4-piece.
Uh-huh.
And then they do live shows, and they bring in an extra guitarist and a drummer. And then in 77, the guitarist leaves.
Uh-huh.
And so they're down to 3. And so their next album after that was called And Then There Were 3. And then after they became a 3-piece,
I think that's when I really started listening.
that's when most people started listening to them, because that's when the pop era of Genesis began. The songs became shorter. Phil Collins had this explosive solo career, which often confused Genesis. Like a lot of Genesis would sound like him, you know. And then Peter Gabriel went off to become huge.
So I thought Peter Gabriel was there when it was the three of them, but I guess not.
No, he wasn't. But he was one of the original first founding members. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean the circumstances of his leaving. That's a whole other story as to why he left. But
why did he leave?
They were recording an album that was different than anything they had done before, because everything else would be democratic.
Oh, okay.
But this time he insisted on writing the story and the lyric while they do the music. At the same time, his wife had a baby who was premature, I believe, and like the cord got wrapped around. Well, they almost lost the kid. Mm-hmm. And then at some point during the recording of the album, he had an offer from the guy that did The Exorcist. Yeah. And he sort of left the band thinking that he was going to do this film career. And then William Friedkin was like, I didn't want you to leave the band, so he came back. Mm-hmm. Then his wife was in the hospital, so they're recording, and then he's got to drive 4 or 5 hours every night to go see his wife. The band wasn't they were kids, they were in their 20s. Yeah. And they didn't really understand the seriousness. He did at that point. Mm-hmm. Then they went live, and he was getting all this attention for his costumes. But he was also getting sick and tired of the tours being planned years in advance. Felt like he was part of a machine. And so just the combination of all of those things, he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's when Phil Collins was made the lead singer.
Yes. They were searching for lead singers, and nobody quite fit the bill. And so as they were recording, Phil would sing just to have somebody sing the parts, and then his wife at the time suggested, well, why don't you just sing? And it, that was the beginning. Yeah. The beginning of his stardom.
Do you think they'll ever perform together again, or no? I mean, Phil Collins doesn't even really come out in public, right?
Well, he has.
Oh, he has.
Yes, recently he did. It's over the last couple years now. He did something called the Not Dead Yet tour. Huh. So he had an autobiography. I mean, because the toll of the success on him after the 80s and early 90s, when he became unpopular. Yeah. Right? And then I guess he became an alcoholic for a while. He was very depressed. And so now he's come out of it, but he's ill. I mean, he's not well. He sits down in a chair, and his son does the drums.
Why is he's physically not well?
Physically, yeah. Oh, okay. Just, I mean, the toll of drinking, but also he has complete and total nerve damage.
Oh, really?
The guy was like the hardest working guy in show business. I mean, that's not even an exaggeration. Like, he just played and played and played.
Yeah.
Tour after tour after tour for years, you know. And so now he has nerve damage. So even if they reunited as a 5-piece with Gabriel, he can't play the drums. Gabriel has avoided it all of this time. Yeah. So I don't see it happening anytime. I just don't see it. They might as the 3-piece, because that was when they were most popular. The last time they did that was 2007.
Do you listen to any other music other than Genesis?
Yes, Yes, I love how you just flip, like you're doing the podcast on me. But this is my dream come true. Somebody asking me about Genesis.
Well, apparently this needed to happen.
No, I listen to tons of other things. I really do. I all varieties and types of music, and I know a lot of people say that, but I really do have an open mind when it comes to music. Large knowledge base, thanks to friends. But I do have an unhealthy obsession with Genesis. There's no doubt.
So, talking about an expansive knowledge of music, I noticed you have an album here, Rhapsody for Young Lovers.
Nikki got that for me.
Really? Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah, she got me a vinyl player.
Okay.
Which I've been wanting for a while to play my Genesis vinyls, because they're the only ones I own. And so she got that along with it.
Oh, that's,
and it's beautiful.
Cool.
It's really a nice little album.
Yeah.
Instrumentals.
I recognize some of the songs.
Oh, do you? Cool. Like which ones?
The one. Can I
Absolutely, you can pick up anything in here.
Well, the Laura's theme from Dr. Zhivago.
Okay.
Strangers in the Night, of course.
Of course.
I think I know Moonlight Sonata. I think.
Isn't that Beethoven? The Moonlight Sonata?
I don't know if it's Beethoven. Well, if it's Beethoven, then it doesn't. Well, you know what? I don't know.
Huh.
I didn't think that's what that song was, but maybe it is. And then Young Lover's Rhapsody. That I think I might know that one. I'd have to hear that one. And apparently, I'd have to hear Moonlight Sonata. One of my favorite old love songs is Moon River.
I know the title, but I can't think of the.
I think it's
the
from
tune.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. I think it was from that movie.
And see, there's a movie I only know from a song. I've never actually seen the movie.
Ah.
Are you a movie buff?
No.
No.
I like old movies. I know a little about a lot of stuff.
A Renaissance woman. All right.
And I do like music. One voice I think is amazing is Steve Perry. I love his voice.
Oh yeah.
And I mean he doesn't sing with Journey anymore.
Steve Perry, that voice is so unique, right?
Yes.
And have you seen Journey since?
No, and I don't think I want to. Some friends saw them and they said they weren't digging it.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't dig it. You've seen them?
Okay,
and you
so
like
I
them?
saw them. Yeah.
Okay.
My friend. Once again, it's just a running joke that he gets mentioned at least once on every podcast. And as soon as you said Steve Perry, I'm like, oh, here we go, because he's a huge Journey fan.
Okay.
And Santana.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So the members of Journey used to be with Santana.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were playing with him at Woodstock. Like Neil Schon, I think, the original guitarist. I'm gonna mess this up, so I don't want to go into too much detail. But anyway, so we went to see. It was really cool though, because it was Journey playing, but also Santana. So the original members that played with Santana did a set with him first, and then Journey did their stuff.
That was probably awesome.
It was awesome. And the thing about how you say the voice, right?
Yeah.
The new singer of Journey he's an Asian guy. I want to say Korean, but I could be wrong. Who was the lead singer of a Journey cover band.
Get out.
Sounds almost exactly like Steve Perry.
Wow.
Almost exactly like him. And that's when Journey saw him perform, they were like, hey, do you want to be the actual lead singer?
Wow.
Yeah.
So my friend saw it when a couple years ago. Journey was performing with oh man, I can't remember the group, but it seemed like kind of an unlikely pairing. It might come to me. Anyway, they saw them with this other group, and they didn't like it.
They weren't feeling it.
No, it was when who did Axl Rose come back in
Guns N' Roses?
Well, he was originally with Guns N' Roses, but a couple years ago he toured with another group as their lead singer.
Oh.
I can't remember the
I
group.
vaguely remember this.
So whatever that group was, they were performing with Journey, and my friends were like, Journey was just lackluster.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Anyway, but I haven't seen them, so I guess I shouldn't comment. But Steve Perry's voice totally.
Yeah.
I mean, all those songs, like the songs are actually running through my head, like the beginnings of the songs.
Like which ones? Like what
should have been gone, knowing how I made you feel.
And what is it about "Don't Stop Believin'"? It's like this. It's one of those universal songs that everybody, as soon as you hear those opening notes, the ripple goes across any room. I mean, you could be anywhere and you'll feel the vibe from that song.
And Oh Sherry, like
Yeah.
those songs were great.
Yeah.
He even had I remember he had a single album in the 80s that I don't think did really well, but it was, but I can't at this moment recall any of the names of the songs, but it was a good album. It's like Daryl Hall. By the way, that since we're talking about this, I like Daryl Hall and
Hall and Oates, yeah.
But the older stuff, I like all of their stuff, but the older stuff I like more.
Sure.
But they're really accomplished musicians, and Daryl Hall had a single album in the must have been still the 80s, late 80s. That was really good, but it didn't do well on the charts, but just the musicality.
The charts don't really matter though. In the end, I mean, if it's something that resonates with you personally, that's all that really matters.
I agree.
What are you listening to these days?
To be honest, I don't listen to a lot of music anymore. I used to listen to tons of music, and like you, I like all types of music. In fact, my favorite music is big band.
Oh, cool. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and I like pretty much anything and everything. Zydeco, country, R&B, rock. I'm not into like really heavy, like acid rock.
Oh yeah, no, me neither. Like metal and all that stuff.
Yeah, where it for me it's hard to really hear the music.
Sure.
So I don't really enjoy that, but I could listen to a song or two.
Yeah.
But to be honest, these days I haven't really purchased any music in a long time.
Me neither.
I listen to, well, in part it's because it's difficult for me to find a lot of positive music.
Ah, okay.
Or music with positive words. Let's put it that way.
Really?
So because of that, I've been listening more to mantras. And then there are some songs by Aaron Drucker that it's almost like chanting, because the words tend to be the same thing over and over again.
Sure.
And her songs are positive.
Sure.
And there are some people, but it's a little harder to find unless you're really looking for that. So because I'm at this point in my life, I'm more interested in making sure I'm feeding my mind well.
Completely.
And even though there's pop songs, there's dance songs that I do like, but on the regular, I don't listen to them.
Oh, I hear you.
Because I love Rihanna. I love her songs. You can because I love the dance, but I don't listen to that.
You're not like jamming to that stuff all day long.
No.
Yeah.
Because I'm more sensitive to the words. Now, and then there's other songs that I'm older now, so I don't understand. I can't pick out all the words.
Right.
I feel like my aunts, my mom.
It's happened.
Yeah. I'm like, what the heck did they say? I don't know what they're saying, so I better not listen because I don't have a clue what they're saying.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you reach a certain point, and like again, I say to myself, I'm open-minded. But I hear some of the music today, and I'm just like, there's something's been lost.
Oh, well,
I don't know if it's, I don't know.
Well, in part, they don't use real instruments anymore unless they go on tour,
right?
Which I miss. Most songs don't have horns anymore.
That's true.
And I love horns. And then when they do, even though the music, a lot of it's electronic, they still don't use those sounds. They don't use horns. They don't fill out the songs. They're very, I don't want to say like linear.
Yes. Oh, no, you're absolutely linear and repetitious. And there was a great YouTube video that broke it down scientifically.
Oh, really?
Showed like studies that have been done where they took all these different songs from today and they broke it down like in their musical structure. And they showed look how simple the musical structure is and look how everybody copies. And then it was vocabulary in the lyrics. Yeah. Compared to before and now, and there's definitely in the use of multisyllabic words has gone down.
Well, I mean, in some of the songs, literally they're saying the same thing over and over, like a 5-word phrase.
Well, now that's funny that you say that because you just told me you listen to mantra.
Well, but the difference though is what the mantras are saying are very high vibrational.
Absolutely.
So that's the difference, as opposed to, I don't know, you want to come over tonight? Want to come over tonight? I mean, I'm making that.
Well, no,
up,
I'm thinking of like a chilling in the club, rubber dub dub, chilling in the club, rubber dub. I mean, I've literally heard songs like that.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of back in the 70s, the disco era, when Donna Summers made the Love to Love You Baby.
Mm-hmm.
But that had a different effect on people.
Yes, right. I mean, I even look at rap. Like, if you just strictly look at rap or hip hop, however, the two are combined. You know, like in the days of the Wu-Tang and everybody else who was around then, real true poets, masters of the language, masters of their verbiage, Nas, Jay-Z, you know, all of them. And then you look at today, and as a teacher, I see that connection of people are not reading, they don't have a high vocabulary, right? There's a dearth of, I don't know, original ideas, I guess.
Well, we see that in movies too now.
Movies too.
How many I was going to say repeats, but how many movies are we seeing that they're remaking them?
Reboots.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Or if it's not a remake, it's the same story that we've heard. We've seen that story so many times. Because
they're going for what has worked in the past instead of taking risks on anything new. This is my beef with comic book movies. I love it. It's great. Superheroes, I understand that they are our new myths. You know, like the Joseph Campbell power. Like, they're our new myths, our new archetypes.
That's interesting. Okay.
You know, like
I never thought of it like that.
The Greeks and the Romans had their gods and goddesses. We have Marvel and DC and whatever. Like that. I really believe that. So I guess my beef is, okay, what's next? You know, I get like the comic book hero thing. Okay, what's... Give me something new.
Well, that's a good point. However, the X-Men were pretty good, though.
I haven't even...
You've never seen an X-Men movie?
I think I saw... No, that's not true. I think I saw maybe the first two. The first two, I think. I haven't seen any since then.
Well, I like the X-Men.
Oh, I can tell. Do tell.
I mean, they have a lot more characters, you know, that do different things. So...
Right.
Because of that, it makes it more interesting.
Because there's the whole school, right, with the Professor Xavier.
He has the school, and then there's, if you want to call it good and evil, it's not quite good and evil, but the students he's trying to educate so that they use their gifts responsibly.
Sure.
And then there's the others that are not responsible, which we might consider the bad.
Yeah.
And they just have different gifts, and they're really kind of cool gifts.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed, I mean, Superman was cool back in the day, and people still like Superman, but is Superman really still cool?
I don't know. I think I love Superman.
Do you?
He was my first superhero. So yeah. But I see. Well, they ruined Superman. That's the problem. And it is hard to do Superman today. He's so anachronistic. Like, he doesn't fit it. People say he doesn't fit in, but I think that we need that kind of message now. I think that people are so cynical that they see the Superman message or the symbol of it, and it's like, oh, how quaint. But it's like, no, we desperately need to recapture whatever that is that Superman represents.
Well, so faster than a speeding bullet. I actually, as a kid, I memorized that. I had it written down. So
oh, did you really?
Yeah. The intro. That was back when they had the old black and white TV show, Superman.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Sure.
I mean, I was watching it on reruns. I'm not that old. I'm old, but I'm not that old. But so, what do you think about Superman versus Captain America, though? Because they've reinvented, so to speak, Captain America.
You mean Batman?
No, Captain America. I mean, I know they're not fighting each other, but, you know, Captain America was popular, I think, in the 40s.
Okay.
And now he's, you know, they've had all these movies with Captain America.
Well.
So do you think is it the same? Like, he's just passé now, in a way?
Well,
Like possibly
I mean,
Superman?
I guess are you asking like symbolically speaking?
Yeah, well, yeah, and its impact on culture today. I mean, America, back in the 40s, right? I think he came out in the 40s.
It was
the
So he's Nazis. He fought the Nazis.
That's right. And so the promotion of America and how people felt about their country, at least how they felt about America. I've never lived anywhere else, so I can't speak about other places. But that pride in the flag, that pride in the country, and we'll do anything and everything for it. That has overwhelmingly, in terms of the entire country, has not been the case for years. Right. I would say probably since the late 60s, definitely early 70s.
I agree.
So they've had these movies and he's still there, but how does he really fit?
Well, I think it's because the Marvels were good movies. And he was a good actor. And the movies that were centered on him were mostly good.
Yeah, no, they were good.
Got good reviews, and people that saw them liked them, and I remember liking them. So, in terms of, is he representing a resurgence in patriotism? Definitely. Probably not. I think that's what you're saying is like, and then Superman, the movies were so bad that people didn't even care one way or another.
Yeah, poor Superman.
Poor Superman. It really is a shame. It is a shame.
Plus, he needs a little makeover.
Well, how so? How would you make over Superman?
So, the S on his chest, I would make it like a hologram or 3D. The boots, I'll change the boots somehow. I'm not quite sure how.
Too high?
Yeah, they might be too high. You know what? I think not. I would make them look a little more like, I think, sneakers, because sneakers are so popular. Yeah. Not literally sneakers, but make them have a little more of that look.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Just he needs a little updating, I think.
Yeah.
They updated him when Christopher Reeves was the Superman.
They did.
So I think it's.
And those, to me, that's Superman. That's the last.
Yeah, those were good movies. Those were entertaining.
Oh yeah.
I actually have not seen Superman versus Batman because that did not make sense to me. So
Superman versus Batman did not make sense to you.
Well, the fact that they would be fighting.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like they had temporary beef until they really got to understand each other. I didn't see the movie either.
Yeah.
I have no interest in seeing it. I've seen enough reviews of it to know that it's bad. And I really, when I saw that first, the Superman movie, Man of Steel. So that was the one where they reintroduced the new Superman.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
And that's when I knew. Like, once I saw that, I was like, there's no way I'm going to see this guy play Superman again.
Yeah.
Because it was, the thing about it was Superman does not kill people.
That's correct.
And in that movie, Man of Steel, not only do they fight in this city that causes destruction, killing thousands upon thousands of people, but then at the end with Zod, you remember Zod?
Yes.
From Superman 2?
Yeah.
So he comes back, like he's the villain in the Man of Steel. Are you okay with spoilers?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
actually,
the spoilers,
I prefer someone to tell me the movie, and that doesn't take away from it.
Whatever you want to say about how it looked or how the character was, like, you can debate that till the cows come home. But what finally made me completely lose it on the movie was he's got Zod in a headlock, and Zod's shooting lasers out of his eyes, and the lasers are slowly burning the wall, and they're about to hit some innocent civilians. And so Superman has no choice at the final moment but to snap Zod's neck. And he snaps his neck. And I was like, no.
Yeah, Superman wouldn't do that.
Superman would not do that.
Yeah.
In Superman 2, he just he crushed his hand and threw him into the ice.
Yeah, I was going to say he would have thrown him to the ground and jumped in front of him and blocked the lasers or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's commentary on where we are, I think, society.
Exactly. And that's why I go back to we need something new. Who were your why don't we go back? Okay. Can you tell me about your childhood? Is that something that you're cool talking about?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything I'm not cool talking about. And if there is, I'll just say I'm not comfortable. And that's a lot because I'm a Scorpio, and Scorpios, they don't tell everybody everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is out. So clearly, I like you, Marcus, because normally I would be like, shut it all down.
I like you too, even though we haven't talked very much. I mean, I hear the best things in the world from Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki. I was gonna try to make a joke, but I'll be serious.
No.
She's so sweet to my heart. It's, I truly believe that we've, known each other for many lifetimes because we're very, not only comfortable with each other, but we got to be very friendly very quickly without really knowing anything about each other, and supportive without knowing anything about each other. So I think it's mutual.
Yeah, totally. Oh darn! I just lost it. You said something, and I'm like, hold on to that because.
Wait, I think you wanted to ask about my childhood.
Or you said you've known each other before.
I believe so. Mm-hmm.
There was one thing she mentioned that involved a murder.
Yeah.
What happened there? Because I never really got the details.
I guess I can tell. Well, this is partly her story, but I guess I can tell this story.
Okay.
So basically, we. Yeah, I think if she's not comfortable, you can cut it out. Yeah.
Deal.
So because it's not all of my story to tell.
Understood.
But we earlier this year, I had really got a big interest in the Akashic Records, which do you know what the Akashic Records are?
Yes.
Do we need to explain it for your listeners?
You just literally read my mind.
Okay.
For listeners? What listeners?
Well, the listener.
The listener. If there is a listener, they probably know what it is. But for those that don't know, the Akasha, would you like to tell everybody?
Oh well, you can. You were leading into it, so you could.
Basically, the infinite vast storehouse of all knowledge, wisdom, experiences, imagination, past, present, future, all time of human species.
Yes, and possibly beyond humans.
It's basically like the internet with a capital TAG or something.
Oh my goodness, yes.
The universal internet that any sentient being can access at any time.
That's correct.
Not access it the way we think, like you look it up, but you can access it in intuitive ways that you don't even realize. Like when you need information, it's presented to you. That's the Akashic.
Yes, and you can, and if there's something specific, so I'm gonna break that down a little bit. So, if you desire information from your past, not just this lifetime, but other lifetimes, and potentially future lifetimes, that information is held in the Akashic Records. And the Akashic Records is basically a library. And so it's a library of information on every human that's ever existed. And like I said, possibly if you were not human. Because some of our past lives may not be human past lives. And by the way, well, never mind, that might be going too deep.
You can go as deep as you want.
I was going to say, by the way, there really isn't a past, present, and future. It's all happening now.
It's all happening now. Yes,
that's
an important side note.
So which is in part why it's accessible, why it's easily accessible. Here in our earthly experience, we know time as being linear. We know a past, present, and future. But based on my comprehension, there are other dimensions and possibly timelines that time is not linear. It's not the way we experience it here. Mm-hmm. So there's a belief that everything is literally happening all right now. So the past me, when I was 5, is happening right now. Mm-hmm. And yep. The me talking is happening right now. And since these things are all really happening in the same period, right? Especially if we think of a period as a dot, mm-hmm. They are accessible. So how are they accessible? You can, like you said, right? Sometimes you get an intuition about something, that information becomes available, and you don't realize you're accessing mm-hmm. your records. You can get quiet, you can go inside, you can meditate, you can access the records. There's people that have written methodologies, procedures on how you can go get the records yourself. You can work with other people who are good at accessing the record, either guiding you to access your own records, or they're good at seeing your records even if you cannot. Right? So those people are called either Akashic readers or Akashic channelers. So earlier this year I had a big interest in the Akashic Records, and I had asked Nikki if she knew of anyone who could channel your Akashic Records. At the time she said no. Lo and behold, she actually did know someone. And so she had a session with the person. She asked, were we ever in a past lifetime? The person said yes. And I don't know exactly everything they said, but they told her that that apparently I killed her in a past life. Yeah. Which she was she was kind of upset about it. I think she was like, that couldn't happen. In fact, in this lifetime, that's so not me. That is right. That is not just her, with anyone. That's not really my way. I'm much more peaceful. But then I actually had a session with the person, and I asked about Nikki. And the thing is, you when someone is reading your records, they can't access someone else's. Okay. Because they don't have permission. So the information she got was based on what she could get from my own records. Right. But she said that, which I wasn't surprised because I was already feeling some of this. She said that we've had many lifetimes together, and that in essence we've been many things to each other in terms of, she said one time we were farmers. She was like, I don't know why they're showing me farmers. Yeah, so I didn't get the deal about the farmers.
Oh, that sounds nice.
But she said that there was back in I forget the time period, but apparently I did kill Nikki. I think I chopped off her head. Whoa. At one point. Whoa. And that in one lifetime, to help her, I told a lie and did something that was not really in my character, and then she found out I did it and I lied, and she was very upset, and we kind of the friendship kind of broke off. But so I did something that wasn't what we would call good, but I did it for good reason. Gotcha. And she didn't go into what that was all about. Okay. But she said she didn't think there was any residual to work out there.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
You guys seem fine.
Yeah. Anyway, that was really interesting. And I asked about Nikki because she asked about me, and we wanted to compare notes.
Yes. Totally.
So apparently I did kill her.
Oh, okay.
But that's so foreign to me.
Well, the idea of it, but we don't know. We don't know what we're capable of in a completely different lifetime, and
and situations. Yeah. Clearly I can't imagine a situation that I would kill someone, but you never know what could really occur if
Right.
you're actually in a situation that became an option. I mean, I shot a gun once,
Yeah, me too. Just once.
and never again.
Never again.
I was in Arizona. It was one of those, we'll take you in the desert, show you a bunch of things, and we got to shoot at some cans. I literally shot it once. It gave, what is it, the kickback?
Yeah. Recoil.
I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
That didn't feel good.
No.
I mean, you can see my face. It felt so.
See, I've been interested in going to a driving range.
Oh, really?
Mildly interested, not because everybody that's gone says it's fun. You know,
Yeah, I know people that own guns that you go to the shooting range, and I just don't have a desire.
I don't have a desire to see guns. Period. This 555, by the way. Just thought I could point that out.
That's interesting based on what we're talking about.
Yes, exactly. I mean, do we want to jump on that real quick? I don't
Sure.
know. I mean,
Go ahead. I don't think that is because of the guns.
Yeah, the 555.
Yeah, I don't.
It's just meant to be. I see it all the time now. The angel numbers. I see them all the time. Ever since Nikki did the quantum healing session on me,
really.
that's when I started seeing them. I mean, like they were there, but man, I mean, nonstop.
Yeah.
Since then.
Always fives or different?
No, always the different. But you know, before I'd look at a clock and I wouldn't see triple digits.
Yeah.
I'd look at a clock multiple times a day, and I would have remembered if I saw triple digits that many times.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
you would. You're detailed oriented.
Yeah. Now it's like. I mean, maybe there. I guess you could argue scientifically that now your brain is trained to look every hour or so, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
But the gun thing.
Yeah.
Look, people. I feel like you should have your right to your gun. You know,
Oh.
people want to hunt. They want to do target practice, whatever. But I don't know. I think it's just gotten to the point where, like, I'd be fine with no guns ever. Like, like people, like a private citizen not having access to them.
Wow, that's a.
It's a whole, it's opening up
it's
this whole giant can of worms.
Well, I sigh for a few reasons. So my platform is Peaceful Praise, and I am anything I do through that platform is about peace, love. It's about the things that we consider to be positive vibrations and higher vibrations. So I saw a post, I saw something that I can actually consider reposting, which was some words from Anne Frank had written. And really, if you read them, they apply to today. And I thought about reposting it, but I chose not to, because not that in and of itself it is what we might consider negative, but again, I'm about love, and I really do believe that love changes things, peace changes things, that if we raise our own selves up as well as other people, that change can occur just from that. I very much believe in prayer and meditation. In fact, it's been revealed to me that is ancient technology.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
So I usually don't really. I mean, I am going to engage now, but in general, I don't engage a lot because with these conversations, because I find that a lot of times people get riled up, and the emotions that are there are they, to me, don't feel like vibrations that will help uplift. So I tend not to, but I will comment. I mean, it's not like I don't ever talk about.
No. I just like how you just put that though.
Mm-hmm.
That was the key takeaway from all that was you saying, I'm not going to speak about it one way or another with people because it's almost like you're just adding to it as a reality. You're just adding to whatever that vibration is that people are jumping on, that bandwagon. It's like the same thing as making fun of Trump.
Oh, yeah, I don't even...
It's so easy to do, right? But all that does, it's like when you say the name of the thing, it's like the mantra. The more you repeat it, the more power you give it, and so on and so forth.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And so that's what you're saying. It's like, I could calmly discuss Trump with you, but I choose not to because I'm not going to feed that in any way. I'm going to stay, let's talk about something that is...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So with respect to guns... I don't own one. I don't see myself owning one. But like I said, I mean, anything could happen, right? I think people having guns, I think that's okay. And the part that I take issue with is why do the police have military weapons?
Well, right.
Okay. Why do why do civilians have, in essence, guns that are either machine guns or guns that they can put things on it so that there's rapid fire? It makes them into is that considered a machine gun? Like
yeah. Semi-automatics.
Yeah. So that's where I take issue. I mean, there's a whole other issue, right, of mental health in this country.
Well, sure.
And people having access to guns that shouldn't have access. So I think that's just kind of obvious. but even if people have guns, I think open carry, I have an issue with open carry.
Yeah, seriously.
And then the fact that the mass shootings that have occurred are people where in essence they have machine guns. They've either bought some type of gun and they've been able to modify it into a machine gun. There's no need for, at least I don't believe there's any need for a civilian having a gun that can maybe not the rapid fire, but where it's shooting 100 rounds.
See, but I'm going to jump in there and just playing devil's advocate. There are citizens out there that would say, yes, we do need those guns for when the government, turns on us. That's their argument. I'm not saying it's mine.
But it shouldn't be open carry.
Right.
At least if you have those in your home, or if the government is now doing something and now you're going to take it out of your home, but I think there's been mass shootings in places where it's not open carry, so I shouldn't just focus on that. But I don't know. I get it if they think the government's gonna. I get that, but I just think. I don't think the government should have those weapons either.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. I think you and I are so far thinking is I'm visualizing the world where people don't need that kind of
totally.
stuff for defense. Like if there's guns and people maybe hunt with them to thin off the herd with the genetically created animals that they made or whatever. You know what I mean? They don't really have a consciousness. They're just for people to like. But you know what I mean? And so it seems like okay. So right now, we could make the gun laws. We could make things better the way they are right now, just with tighter background checks, not having semi-automatic weapons in civilian homes. Like there are things we could do right now. But then the ultimate solution to the gun problem is the ultimate solution to any problem, and you hinted at it, which is the change of the individual consciousness.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I know it's for some people difficult to imagine, but I really believe And I believe it could be done in my lifetime. I don't know if it will, but I believe that with each of us changing, well, I'm not even going to say change, because it's a word that means change, but I think it's a deeper meaning of change.
Okay.
If we transform our consciousness, and in that transformation, realizing that we truly impact each other, literally, everything. So I'm at a place right now. So I might. A disclaimer. I reserve the right to say something totally different.
Yeah, absolutely.
in the future.
Yeah, that's the way this podcast works.
But right where I am right now, I'm at a place where I am totally in alignment that everything I think, say, do, and just my energy, that impacts other people. And I could literally be in a room by myself for hours. I'm still having an impact because it is all, again, someone might disagree with me. I'm just saying this is where I am. Because it's ultimately all vibrational. We're all energetic beings. And I can be sitting here thinking whatever, and it could be impacting someone in Asia.
Yes.
So that, when you start to be in alignment with that and being willing to take self-responsibility, that doesn't mean that I stop thinking. It doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, I can only think these 3 things. I mean, I'm not like neurotic about it. But the point is, if I'm willing to take self-responsibility, then I recognize that that's happening. So and I believe we're all that powerful.
We all are.
So that means we could all change all of this in a snap of a finger. Now, of course, we're not all in the same place, but my point is, if we really thought that way and recognize that what I do to someone else, I'm ultimately doing to myself, because a lot of people say, oh, we're connected, we're one. Okay, what does that really mean? And not just what does it mean, are you living that? Right? We say a lot of stuff, but are we living it? And even myself, right? I got to check myself.
It's very difficult.
But if we started to move more towards that, which I think there are more people doing that now than years ago, but I really think things could change. I really do think we could live in what used to be called utopia. I wouldn't call it that. I would change the name.
There needs to be a different name, right?
Yeah. But we're literally there doesn't need to be challenges. I don't believe there needs to be challenges. I believe everybody could be joy-filled, joyful, happy, everything be all good. And some people are like, oh, that wouldn't be interesting. I think it would be interesting as all get out.
See, I'm a little on the fence, because you need, I get boy, there's so many, like a million thoughts. So isn't that what this is? This is the challenge that makes our soul, helps our soul to grow.
So they say.
So they say, right? And I guess my earlier thought was, if you get enough people waking up and becoming aware, like you said, and actually living with that knowledge in every moment, the words I say right now, the deed that I do, this person in front of me, being aware of that effect. If enough people get there to that point of awareness, could there be a tipping point, a global tipping point?
Yeah, I think a few things. I usually don't think just one thing.
Of course not.
I think the answer is yes. We've been told how, right? What is it when you get to 1,000 monkeys? I can't remember.
Yeah, the 100 monkeys can eventually do.
Yeah, once 100 learn something, all the rest of the monkeys start to do it.
Yes, exactly.
No matter where they are in the world, right?
So 100 monkeys, right?
Yeah. So which is the tipping point. Yes. So could there be a tipping point in without a doubt. I think definitely. But I also think that and I don't even know if you need a lot of people to do this, but I think as you transform your consciousness, yeah, you know what? I don't think you need a lot of people to do this. As you transform your consciousness, you start to have different experiences. And I truly believe that, I don't even know, maybe you just need one person to do it and they just be by themselves. But I think if you get enough people transforming their consciousness in a similar manner, I think they will all have a different experience from the other people.
Yes, I agree.
It's almost like another timeline would be created, and I mean, I don't know if they would still see the people that have a different consciousness, or if they literally, like, I know this is way out there.
No, it's not way, but it's way out there maybe to some people, but it's not way out there.
Yeah, so I mean, clearly, maybe it's not clear. I don't know what would happen, but I wonder if, like you said, there would be a split, and would they even have any communication with that group? Like, would they just totally, basically, in essence, be zapped?
They say that they're going to. I've heard that, right? That when you move up to the fourth dimensional consciousness, and then eventually fifth dimensional heart consciousness, that the people that were not ready to get there, they stay in their own separate reality. Yeah. But I also tend to think that not that I tend to think this, but based on research, the shift is occurring, right?
There is a shift
occurring. And maybe there's been numerous shifts in Earth history, but there is a shift occurring now.
Yes, I agree.
We're attempting to reach the tipping point.
Yes.
A lot of us out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In our daily lives, and we're trying to reach the tipping point.
Yeah, so. and most of us are trying to, most of us, I think, are trying to bring everybody along.
Right. So while we're in this state of transition, I almost look at it as the two are overlapped, and you can slide in and out of one reality or the other. And maybe it's not even as simple as just one reality, but you could watch the news, check the headlines for a half an hour, and you'll slip into what's going on that 3D fear-based reality. Right? You could walk into a supermarket, and maybe it's there, and you sense it, and it pulls you in. Maybe somebody just got you. They pulled you back. So and who knows? Yeah. But it seems like that's what's happening right now. Is the Earth is yanking it. Some people say it's already in 4D and it's just waiting for us to come along. But while that's happening, you've got people that are awake to varying degrees and people that are asleep. Interacting.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I won't give a specific example because I don't want to mention any names, but just as an example.
Okay.
Like you could have a dinner party, and there could be 6 people at that party that are in flow with each other.
Okay.
And I think you know what I mean by that. Like finishing each other's sentences, or paying attention to social cues, or and there might be that one person that is just not there yet. But they're all having, quote unquote, the same dinner party. They're there in the same local space and time. Yeah. But they're experiencing 2 different the 6 people are all getting along, and the other one's sitting there all bitter. For whatever reason, he's bitter at that.
We've even seen that at holidays.
Yes.
Holiday with our families.
Right. So these competing realities, and it's like you said earlier, the more you talk about the negative thing or the Trump or the violence, or the more you focus on it, the more you give it power. You give that reality power.
Yeah, I believe so. I also very much believe that we create our reality. I really very much believe that. I actually listened to someone recently who I've listened to for years, and she recently, I don't listen to her as much because I don't align with some of her teachings, and I stopped listening to her more because I've heard her, like, she talks about her team, which includes Jesus, Archangel Metatron, I think Mary Magdalene, like, some of the Ascended Masters that I resonate with, but she would say, this is the way something is. It's not the way we thought it was. It is this way, and it's not true, guys. It's not true. And I've also come to believe that it's all true.
Finally.
that anything and everything is possible. I call them possibilities and potentialities.
That's exactly what it is.
It's all possible.
Yes.
So I'm like, if that's what she thinks, that's what it is.
Right.
But I don't think that.
Right.
And I was listening to something, and she was talking about our thoughts and how she was like, well, you know what? Maybe this is my perception of what she was saying. I'll say it that way. What I took away is, because she was talking about some fear-based thoughts she used to have, and how she used to be worried that she was going to create this situation. But, she never created the situation. And she's done some things where that fear is and worry has decreased. She doesn't have those thoughts anymore. But she was saying that she would be upset because she was like, oh, what am I creating? And that would make it worse.
Sure.
And so she was saying it never got created, and we don't really create our reality. Like every thought doesn't create our reality, is what she was saying. So she was saying, so you don't have to be worried if you're having these thoughts that before you thought might produce something in your world that you did not want to deal with.
Okay.
And she was like, that's not true that you create a reality. Well, anytime someone and I have an issue with the word true.
Sure. Because
truth, I believe, is on a whole nother level than facts.
Yes.
So, and in essence, I'm saying it's there's some level of, at least here and some other places, meaning on Earth and some other places, it's all possible. Now, maybe there's a realm where everything is impossible, right, but here it is. At least that's my experience. So I don't resonate with what she's saying, although in her world that's cool. I have a whole different experience, and I recognize sometimes I have thoughts that I'm like, oh man, this is a fun thought, but I don't want to create this, and I know I won't create it in this existence, but it is probably being created in some other existence. And I don't know if I want that created, although I'm having fun thinking about that.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't really figured that part out.
Yeah, because what came first, the chicken or the egg? Maybe it's already there, and you're just tuning in. It's all happening at once. So
that's actually a really good point. Just to diverge from it, a friend sent something from this guy. It was an Instagram post, and he was basically saying when we have thoughts that we think are original thoughts, and if we don't fulfill whatever the thought wants to manifest, and then someone else creates it, and you're like, oh, they took our idea. And they're like, well, did they really, or did they catch the wave of the idea?
They caught the wave of the, yes.
And are all the thoughts collective thoughts anyway? Who had the first thought about whatever?
Well, yeah.
So anyway, it was just
those are all important, legitimate questions. I don't even know where to begin commenting, or because I'm with you.
Yeah, I just threw that in because it fit.
Well, we gotta stop thinking of ourselves as separate beings. I mean,
Yeah.
we are a unified consciousness. You know, and that's I think what we're growing into is the whatever Elon Musk and his neural link. Like that's the baby steps. That's the kindergarten of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be a unified mind, a global awareness, and I can barely even conceive of what that means.
And I would put out there that we already are. It's just that we're returning to it.
Yes, right.
Oh shoot! I remember what I was going to say. I was at a friend's house last night, but I fell asleep, and they had put on something with Bruce Lipton, and I fell asleep, so I didn't get to hear all of it. And I asked him to send it to me, but I haven't gotten it yet. It was a YouTube video, but he was basically, at least the part I heard, he was saying, you know, we think of ourselves as being in these physical bodies, but there are no physical bodies, and that basically we're like there's not physical bodies with cells. We're basically energy. And then he was starting to talk about how we could impact what we believe as our lives if we infuse different thoughts or vibrations into our energy field. But then I fell asleep, so I didn't get to hear all of it, so I have to go back.
Sounds like a good start.
Yeah, but exactly. But just that alone, right? To think that, okay, it seems like you're separate from me, but if there really are no bodies and there's just energy, I don't know, can energy really be separate? I mean, there are currents, but I don't know enough about...
Well, no, I mean, that's what I was going to say. Like, if you're somebody that's a strict scientist, you know, I don't believe in, you know, I'm atheist science. Science is the answer, right? Science doesn't observe it, it doesn't exist. But even if you're a strict scientist, you have to agree that everything is connected on a base. Well, first of all, scientists don't yet understand what consciousness is from their point of view because it's not a thing that they can, you know, measure. But when you realize that we're I just lost my train of thought again. I hate when I do that. A strict scientist would say, well, your physical body is just atoms and molecules, and the air is just atoms and molecules, and atoms and molecules are just really just vibrations of energy in a localized space. So yeah, science agrees with what we're saying. Like we are physically connected. I mean, there is an actual vibratory line that can be drawn from the sound that escapes from my lips and ripples across the airwaves, but the air and the lips and your face and your body, like it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
So it's, and the consciousness, this is where I really don't know from here how consciousness actually operates. Like I look at it as a vessel, like a possession almost, in a way. And you're birthed into this shell, body, whatever you want to call it, so that your consciousness can go about and I think also both learn lessons for the development of again, we're just saying everything's not separate, but then I'm talking about it as if you are, but also to help raise the vibration. You know, like we come here in order to raise the vibration, and that's probably happening all over the universe or multiverse or whatever you want to call it. You know, it's going from this state of non-awareness to universal collective awareness, I guess.
I agree with you. Now, there's some people though that would say we're wackadoodle, and not only are we wackadoodle, there's no other life but us.
Look, that's fine. It's not fine because it's been my beef for years. Because when we talk about how you and I are envisioning we can't even say Newtopia because I was taken. But the literal heaven on earth. Yeah. Right? That's what we're talking about. The literal heaven on earth.
In a physical manner.
In a physical realm, right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, the merging of the two. Well, you cannot get, if thoughts create reality, right? And if mass consensus thoughts are going to have more of a reality creating momentum to them. Just by virtue of you have more cells come together, you got more chances of an organ, right? Same thing. So if we get in order to get all of these people, in order to get that change that we're doing, we have to change how we think. And that is not happening if you say things like, we're never gonna get rid of war or money, where things have always been this way, right? We've always had money. We can't have a world without money. You know, all those things are not only are they limiting beliefs, and we can say, well, you have a right to your opinion, but you know what? You're actually holding us back. And then I would add the motherfucker.
So I have a friend who, well, you know what? I don't know if they still think this, but they used to be very adamant that there was no life on any other planet in any galaxy. That, well, you know what? I don't know about animals, but that, or like plankton, or things like that. But basically, no intelligent life. That we were the sole intelligent life. Now, I have to admit, I don't know if they still believe that, but it's interesting to me because that same person is kind of follows politics, and I don't watch the news anymore. I stopped watching the news many years ago. It's hard not to know what's going on in the world because at some point somebody tells you, or I do social media, although I'm not on it a ton, but. I see stuff on social media. I don't look for news on the web. If something happens and it piques my interest, then I might go to the web. But I might catch a little news in the car if I want to hear the traffic. But I don't seek out news. And
healthy minimum distance, right?
Well, some people would say it's not healthy because I really don't I really don't deal with news. I think it's fantastic, but anyway,
it's great. Then there's always going to be somebody to tell you what's going on.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I'm not I know what's going on in the world,
right?
But and I, you know what? Sometimes I'll seek out alternative news. That sometimes, but that's usually because something's happened, and then I want to see what the message is that's not mainstream media.
Yes.
Right. But anyway, this same friend will say to me, but something is happening politically, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know because I don't know. Right. And they're like, you better get woke, and I'm like, oh, I am so woke. You like that, like the use of that word.
Yeah.
I get it, and you're right. When it comes to politics, I'm a freaking asleep. But you know what? I don't need to look at the news. If I want to know, I can go sit in a chair, get quiet, and access anything I want to access.
Yes.
So I think I'm pretty woke.
And I mean, what woke about what? The politics is corrupt, that things are falling. Like we know that.
Well, his point is if you don't know, you can't go through the systems that we have in place to make change.
No, I don't believe
I
that.
actually think I don't know if we can use some of the systems that we have in place.
Well,
really
to me, those systems they're broken.
Yeah, well, and I think they're antiquated. I think it's time for different systems.
Way. Yeah.
But that's called anarchy. Yeah, I think.
Well, again, when people.
But I'm peaceful, so.
But there is such a thing as peaceful anarchy, and if you study anarchistic philosophy, it's not all every man, woman, child for themselves. You know, that's not the view of it. That's the skewed view that people, when they, you know, they'll label anarchy as this negative thing. You use that word, and people associate it with total chaos. But you can have a controlled, compassionate anarchy. But again, it takes the individual consciousness to be raised to a certain point, right? A certain point where you're just like, okay, we know that every baby being born is not going to shoot up a school. Like, that's hardwired into our, right? We have a baseline that we can work with, but we're just not there yet, you know.
Well, you know, going back to the mass shootings, I mean, I don't. Hopefully, this isn't upsetting what I'm going to say, but I mean, I think, you know, of course, I don't want anyone to be shot,
of course not,
and killed, you know. But there's so many that in itself is horrific, and and it would be nice if that was wiped away. But there's so much more good happening in the world. It's just we're not presented with that. So,
totally.
You know, yeah, the mass shootings, the mass killings are horrific, but the majority of us are not, at least as of now, not going to be in a situation where we're in a mass shooting.
Right.
And and I'm gonna actually use the words the promotion of it. I mean, so that there's a little where do we draw the line between information and it becoming promotional, right? So there's a lot of people that are scared, right? Like a lot of people are scared that they're going to be in a terrorist act because of how it's been presented to us. When the reality is that the overwhelming majority of people in the world, like there's over 7 billion people, the majority of us are not ever going to be in a terrorist act. That doesn't mean it makes, so I'm not saying that makes terrorism okay. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I'm saying the fear that it's created for people, when there's so much more good than these things that were presented. And there's a guy named Reverend Michael Beckwith. I don't know if you're aware of him.
That sounds familiar.
Well, a lot of people know him from The Secret, but he has a church in California called the Agape International Spiritual Center, Agape Spiritual International Center, something like that. But I've heard him say before that the news is really the olds. It's the same story, you know, over and over again.
Yes.
With different names, different locations, but they're the same stories. Kind of like the movies we were talking about.
Yes, they are. They're the same story. You're right.
So yeah, I heard him. I thought that was funny.
I was thinking something similar when you were talking, but you actually got to it and said it better, which is the news is the old. But it was, that idea of you're not really, if your goal is to be informed as to what's going on in this world, really, you're not getting it from there.
Oh yeah, no.
You know, walk outside your door, and talk to people. Feel what's literally going on in front of your actual face. You know? Yeah. That's the world. Yeah. Or at least that's the world that you should be the most concerned about.
You know, that's actually a really, really good point. That's a really good point.
Because if we're going to make this change, and like your friend was saying, well, if you're not informed, then you're not going to be able to work within the system to make change. How's that working out for people that are trying to go through the system?
Well, yeah.
You know? And I mean, but even still, you can make change. I mean, this sounds so trite and quaint, but it's so true. Is that you can make change every single day just by doing what you said in the first place, like focusing on positive vibrations.
Oh yeah.
Right? And cultivating that. I mean, for me, it's very, very hard to not be negative. It's just a natural.
I think it's natural for many of us.
It's natural. I can believe 4 different thoughts that contradict each other at the same time. I can hold 4 of them in my head. So I go immediately to the negative out of habit, psychological habit, but I know that it's not that reality.
Yeah.
I know that it's all those other things too, but I just jump toward the negative. Or there was a point to this. I can't remember what the point was.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, I have a lot of thoughts in my head.
Go for it.
So I don't think of myself as a negative person, but a friend of mine had said to me, "Oh, sometimes you're negative," or they were pointing out that they experienced me as negative, and I was like, "What? Like I can't think of anybody that would say that about me. Not to say I'm like just always positive. I'm just saying in general, I don't think that's the impression people get."
Right.
And what she pointed out to me is that I, like, if there's a situation or something that's going to happen, I look at all the things that could possibly happen. So I don't just point out the positive. I point out, oh, this might be a challenge, or this could come up, and this could be a challenge, and this could be a challenge. And I was a math major, and I was an actuary for many years, and part of what we did was assess risk.
Right? Oh, well, there you go.
That's exactly.
All the pieces are coming together now.
So, I don't feel that's negative. It's I'm thinking of these things so that if they come up, I've already thought about how I could possibly deal with them. But her point is, and it is valid, is that just the mere fact that I'm thinking about it and trying to already create solutions, am I introducing that into the situation? So I was like, wow, that's an awareness that I did not have.
Yeah.
Right. And so now I find myself, like, sometimes I'll text someone and I'll ask, a lot of times before I would ask a question, and then, like, instead of just saying, how are you, Marcus? I might say, how are you, Marcus? Are you feeling this way or that way? Where it's like, no, just take that last sentence out. So I find myself I'm more aware of introducing some things that some people might not perceive as positive, or introducing something that doesn't even need to be introduced. Just tell me how you are. Why do I need to guess how you may be feeling?
Right.
I mean, that's a simple example, but it kind of makes the point that I'm trying to make. So I've tried. I find myself writing texts or writing emails and then erasing part of them, because I'm recognizing that's kind of my risk analysis, and maybe I don't need to introduce that to other people all the time, and maybe at some point I can even not introduce it to myself. So it's just another level of awareness.
Fascinating. I mean, I'm really resonating with that because I do the same thing. More so now than ever before. All the potential outcomes. Like that Boy Scout "Be Prepared" motto.
Yeah.
And my mom used to do that. I called her the worst case scenario person, because it would be like, oh, we're gonna go build a fort in the backyard, and then she would think of, like, whatever it was.
Why the wood might fall down.
Yeah, and so you make a very excellent point. It's to be aware of that, because I'm very much on the fence, because other people out there, they don't think things through, right?
Well, that's what I would say to you. I think that's actually why. I mean, I've been doing this since I was a kid. I don't. Maybe I came here doing this. I don't know, but I think in part because some of the people in my family, although they're all very intelligent, they don't do the 360.
Yeah.
So I think I was like, well, we got to do the 360 because, somebody's got to be prepared.
Right. But then there's that flip side. And that flip side is, it was what I was saying earlier about how I tend to lean to the negative. I think that's more of what I was saying is, but by doing that, are you creating it? Are you giving it power?
Yeah. And if not in your reality, in some reality.
I guess the compromise in some reality, right? The compromise that I've made in my own head is just to try to, kind of like you said, just not bring it up if it doesn't really need to be addressed. Keep it in my head. I know that the thing could fall off the roof of the car.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say anything. You know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting. So right now I'm just aware of it, and like I said, I'm more aware of it, such that I still do it, right? But I take it out of the email, I take it out of the text. I don't say it as much, but it's still in my head.
Yeah.
It would be great maybe not to. I mean, and that's kind of difficult for me to say because the thought that came afterwards is but I don't, if that happens, I don't want to be like, oh, what am I going to do? But then I'm trying to control it. And ultimately, I can't control anything.
and if you believe, I'm just playing, but if you believe the way you say you do, that's how I tell myself, is like, how much do you really believe it? Then if the shit goes down and you're not prepared, you will be fine. You will be taken care of. Consider the lilies in the field.
Yeah, no,
right?
That's a good point.
So it's like I could put in that bag over there all the different things I think I'm going to need if something comes up, but you can never be completely prepared. So that's the other side. And the real danger is that by constantly thinking of the worst case scenario. I don't think you do this, and I really don't feel like I do this either. I don't let whatever the worst case pops up in my head, I don't worry about it. I'm not afraid. But there are people out there that they will refuse themselves positive new experiences because of that fear-based thinking. Because of what if a bolt comes loose on the Ferris wheel and I die?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, no, I don't dwell on them, and some of them aren't even like things that one would even be fearful of. But you gotta complete this paperwork and give it to the woman. Oh, well, what if the woman doesn't know what to do with it? Then what do I do? Like, it could be something as simple as that, right? It's about being prepared. But but you make all good points. Like, I am working to expand and heighten my consciousness or up level it, whatever words you want to use. So this is an area that I feel needs some work.
Yeah.
But to your point, I don't. It's usually not anything that I'm really fearful of. Someone might perceive it as that, but no.
I guess that's what I was getting at. Like when your friend says, "Oh, we." Maybe not fearful, but negative. That's the other
she
way
definitely
they look at it. They look at it as being negative, and it's, well, wait a minute, that's how you're interpreting what I'm saying,
So talking about, I like what you said about perception, right? That's their perception, because perception is a biggie, and so there's someone, one of my sisters, right? She'll say, "Oh, pray for this thing. Pray for this." Like, she wants the outcome to be a certain thing. And sometimes I'll say, well, I'll pray for the highest good for all. Because my experience has been that, and I know, like, when they talk about manifesting, you be specific. I get that. But I'm feeling less attached to the process on how to get somewhere. So I'll explain it this way. Let's say I think, I want the blue car. I want a blue car. Well, yeah, I would like a blue car, but it's really not about the blue car. It's just I need to have some transportation. So I'm less attached to I mean, this is a simple example, right? I'm less attached to this blue specific car, because really I want transportation.
Because I need a car.
Yeah, and I'm more open to, I might think of that blue blah 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 car, but if I'm looking for the blue car and someone gives me a green car, I might not even realize I have a car because I'm so focused on the blue car.
Right?
Right?
Oh, that's great.
Right?
Because the universe is like, hey, Dummy, I gave you what you really needed.
Yeah.
Now you're complaining about the color? I
Yeah.
gave you a car.
Yeah.
You needed transportation.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
that's good.
So sometimes I'm learning, and this is a process, learning more and more that what am I really asking for? And I might want things to work out a certain way, but I really believe the universe, God, I'm comfortable with the word God, but
Go for it.
God, universe, the indescribable, infinite source, all those work for me.
Yeah.
But I believe God dreams a bigger dream, and I don't know what I don't know, so I only can see or vision or I'll use envision, that's better. Envision a certain outcome and getting there a certain way. Well, maybe there's something better, right? So if I'm praying for the highest good of everyone involved, if it's not, it's gotta be great. It's the highest.
Yes.
Right?
And it's like surrender. Those moments where instead of praying for the specific outcome, I'm like, look, I know I'm fucked, God. I give this to you. Like, I seriously surrender this to you. Like, I will take whatever you've got to dish out. And usually it's exactly what I needed, right? It always works out when you do that.
So I'll say that sometimes, and she's like, "Oh, you're being negative." I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm asking for the highest. How is that negative?"
Yeah.
But it takes me back to I've actually told this story recently quite a bit, because a woman who is an elder, who I used to belong to a Unity church, and they don't have church mothers, but if there was going to be a church mother, she would have been one of the church mothers. She was, she was elderly, very wise, someone you would go to. She in essence mothered a lot of people in some ways, right, from a spiritual perspective. And I was telling her one time that I saw an interview with Deepak Chopra, and the question to him was, "What do you pray for?" And he said, "At this point in my life, I pray for the highest good of all." Wow. Right? And just what I said, he was like, basically, if it's the highest good, I'm gonna want that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I was telling her, I couldn't imagine praying for that. Like, praying for that felt like I didn't have control.
Oh, interesting.
But ultimately, I've learned we don't have control. Well, I don't believe we have control.
Yeah.
So, but it felt like I was giving my power away. But it really wasn't my power. I can't control it if I say the highest good. What if something shows up that I don't think I want? But that doesn't compute if it's the highest good, right?
Yeah.
But I was saying to her, that's scary to me, to submit myself to pray for that. And she, I'll never forget, we were on the phone and she got a little stern and she was like, "Shea." as if we were together, she would have been like pointing a finger at me. Yeah. There's nothing to be afraid in God. And those are words that, and so I've told this story a lot recently because she recently transitioned. She passed away. But that time was really significant, because then when I am scared sometimes, I'm like, well, if I'm trying to align myself with this universe, this supreme creator, or You know, this all there ever was, all there is, all there will ever be. And there's really nothing to be afraid in that. Take a breath.
Yeah.
And try to move into that feeling tone where I can lay down the fear.
Right.
But I tell that story ultimately because we were talking about perception, and her perception is, oh, you're being negative because you're not, it's not so much that you're praying for the highest good, but you're not praying for the outcome I want and the direction on how to get to that outcome.
But you're way wiser than that.
Well, it's been a journey.
Yes. Which I do want to get to at some point, but I mean, we're on a nice flow, but
that'll be part 10.
Well, there's a YouTube video. It's some ancient Chinese story. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, it's like I'm not gonna remember any of the details, but a guy has a horse and the horse dies, and somebody says to him like, "Oh, it's a real shame that your horse died," and he's like, "Well, maybe." And then the next day, his best friend dies and leaves him his horse, which is a younger, stronger horse, right? And your son got sent into the army. That must be you must be really scared or nervous. That must be bad. Oh, well, maybe, he was injured and sent home. That must be good. Maybe. Oh, well, the horse kicked your son and he died. See, it's like you never. What you're getting at is your expected outcome may not be the best for the entire tapestry of the space-time continuum.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and having that awareness, but then working my way to being able to do that, that's a long journey. But I mean, it made sense to go on that journey.
Can we pause there so I can use the bathroom?
Yes, you can.
And then we'll take a breather, and I want to hear about this journey. Your journey, not the Steve Perry journey. Call back.
Very powerful having a positive family, the power of the prayer, and God, plus the positive attitude. All those things mean so much to get you through life.
We covered all the important stuff.
That's right. So now let's cover the unimportant stuff.
It's a microcosm of all of the pain of the United States.
Ooh.
You see, getting his moves.
We left off on a specific thought thread. You don't remember where we ended it, huh?
I'm not sure I remember what I did yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. When you're in the moment, there's only this moment.
I guess tune in next time when I have some interesting shit to talk about. Other than that, I love you. I love the world. Peace out.
Sir, I avoid responsibility. That way nobody feels compelled to put me in a position of power.
Be excited, because now it's here. Shiny gift of a lesson that you have in front of you. And now you have to work through it. You really have to, if you want to and you're tired of it, you have to work through it.
Why not? And give yourself, I would call it a dose of real reality. I mean, where nothing makes sense but everything works.
Let's be real. None of this is real.
I feel like I'm telling a story.
What's your advice for people in life?
My advice is to stay strong, be helpful, be smart, be brave, be powerful, be kind, and be loving to everyone, even your pets. Remember to live.
People are like, oh, wouldn't you get lonely when all your loved one dies? Like, no, you get new loved ones.
We really don't know what's in store for us. We really don't know.
Well, would you want to know?
Well, no.
No.
Let's say something bad happened to you. Move on. It already happened. Just move on to the better things in life.
I'm this great bird of prey that's to be feared and awed at the same time. I don't know where the fuck I'm going.
I hope it's really not just us.
Right.
And everyone else is like, self-created eternal hell. No. Every waking moment is a joyous experience of growth and opportunity. I find myself totally spiritual centered and at peace with the balance between me and the rest of the universe.
We can't believe we're good at what we do, because if we believe that, then we'll stop doing it. And more than that, we'll stop growing.
What a heck of time!
Amen to that, my brother. Marcus, own the day, own your life.
It's such a game changer.
After all that, they won the game.
I've always had high self-esteem, but I didn't always have a lot of self-confidence. They are not the same.
That explains my entire life as well.
I practice more than anything affirmative prayer. So even when there's an asking, it's from a place of power, not a pleading. The 12 powers of man, which are 12 gifts from God. Faith, strength, wisdom, or you could call it discernment, love, understanding, power, imagination, order, zeal, life, remuneration, and there's one more which I can't remember.
I used to also believe as a kid that when I was ready, everybody else was pretending until I was ready. You know, it would be like a surprise. Surprise! You've really been in heaven all along.
Oh.
You just had to be ready for it. You had to be ready to see it and experience it for what it is. But now you're ready, so surprise! And I've never lost that.
That's beautiful.